So I came across this video on TikTok and I think the video needs attention. So before I introduce to you my panelists, I would like us to watch the video.
God doesn't exist.
Are you confused now?
What is existence? Existence is time. Existence is equal to time. Time is existence. Existence is time. So when we say God doesn't exist, you are actually making him bigger.
Wow.
To add God to existence is an insult to his deity. Wow. How can the one who created the computer live inside the computer? God is not inside the computer he created. God was living outside time. He was living outside existence when he brought about existence. That is the greatness of God I am bringing about. Every other man of God who says God exists is limiting God.
Wow, so you are welcome to the Faith Forum. My name is Father Isaac Nanakwame Enim Ado, and we are going to have a reaction on this video. I'm in the studio with Emmanuel Ahiatroga and Anthony Enim Ado Kwame, who are seminarians of the Accra Diocese. You are welcome to the set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you saw the video. I will first of all take your reactions to the video. What do you think about the video?
Well, I think when you look at the video critically, you realize that he's trying to communicate a message. But then there's a problem with the mode of communication. Not the mood as in like the mood itself, but the way he's saying it. So in the end, he has said something that really contradicts his whole message as even a pastor or a man of God. I think, just as he said, he's trying to communicate something, but in a bid to communicate the greatness of God, he has actually contradicted himself. He has limited God in a bit to say God is great. That's what I think. Well, he has not really limited God. Mm-hmm. He has just cut off God. Like God, God is not at all. Mm-hmm. And I think you see, the whole Christian message is one. It is simple. It is one. And because it is one, people are trying to communicate it in different ways. And we forget that it's about God. It's about Christ. It's not us. So we're trying to communicate in a way that will make us look nice. Like we know how to communicate God's message best. So I think that's what happened here. And he's saying these things, these controversial things, if not wrong. Yeah, that's what I think. And the most painful part of it all is the atheists get us when they hear these kind of things. You know, we've been in a battle with the atheists about the existence of God for centuries. Only for them to hear one of us saying our God doesn't exist. You know, right? Okay, that is serious.
That is actually serious. Anyway. But I want to ask you something. Does God exist?
Of course, God exists. Okay, it's not about we being Christians or Muslims or Buddhists, but God exists. There is a power that is greater than we who are here. And you know, there are a lot of arguments people have raised over the years, from intellectual point of view, traditional, religious, and it shows that God exists. And even for those who say God does not exist, and for me, I think they're just negating the idea of God, not the God himself. So like looking at how human beings are, if you look at how God is great, this guy is he can do everything. He's like more like a superhuman. It is not possible that he is. If he were, then this and this and this. So you see, to even negate the idea of God, it's more like you acknowledge that he exists before you can negate the idea. So God exists for that man. No, it's just like Saint Anselm said, and he used I think was it Psalm 14, if I'm not mistaken, where he said, "The fool has said in his heart there is no God." So, in essence, God is there. The idea of God is what people don't really want to accept. And most people who actually claim that God does not exist are saying it based on circumstances. So it's more like, I have prayed, I have fasted, I've done this, I've done that, and what I want didn't happen. If what I want didn't happen, and yet I've done all these things, then definitely there's no God. But you can't say because you didn't get what you want, doesn't mean there's no God. After all, our parents don't always give us what we want. It doesn't mean they don't exist. It doesn't mean they're not our parents. It doesn't even mean they're not our parents. So yes, God exists. He's real.
Now, to be able to do justice to this video, we have to understand what existence is. According to the video, existence is equal to time. Do you think that is a basis to say that we cannot say God exists?
And actually, I think that's where there's a flaw. See, when you look at the video from a philosophical point of view, or you look at it logically, it flows because he stipulated his own definition. He says that existence is time and time is existence. And for that matter, if we follow that one, then the whole thing it's consistent and the argument makes sense. And the problem is with the definition of existence. To say existence. Existence is simply that something is. Something to be is to exist. So I exist, you exist, the trees exist. So once something is, we can say that it exists and not about negating it to time. Because something can exist outside time.
But don't you think he may have a point, Emmanuel? Don't you think he may have a point if he says things exist in time? Because existence is time. Of course, I have a problem when it comes to things outside time, like God, that we are talking about. But then putting everything in context of time, existence in time, don't you think he had a point?
Well, if you look at his argument, it makes sense in a way, in a particular, because things exist in time. But earlier situation, are talking about God, and God is an entity which is above things, which means that he exists outside time, which he rightly said. The only problem is he equating existence to time. You see, while existence is the ability or the capacity to be, time is a progression of events through past, present, and future. Now, every other thing lives within this, this time frame. The phone was there 2 seconds ago in the past. It is there now. And in the next 2 seconds, which is the future, it still is. But God is someone that exists outside this past, present, and future. So in a way, he is right, because God exists outside of time. Many Christian philosophers have actually, gone against this idea, saying he exists in time, and it's a whole, debate on its own. But equating existence to time is the problem here when it comes to God, especially.
So he made an assertion that the one who made the laptop cannot be in the laptop.
The computer.
The computer. Sorry. The one who made the computer cannot be in the computer. So you cannot put God in time, which I agree. You cannot put God in time. And then don't you think that the one who makes the laptop or the computer is supposed to exist before he does it?
Exactly. You see, the person must be before he can do anything. For nothing cannot come out of something cannot come out of nothing. Okay, it must always come out from something. I must be to do something. So the one who created the computer analogy is quite weak in my opinion, because for the person to be able to manufacture, he has to be in order to make. If that person is absent, then there will be no computer in the first place. If you bring it to the God idea, for God to be able to do something, then he should be at least, even if he is not in our time. So that's where there is a problem. So he must be before he can make the thing. So God is, and you see, his argument is self-defeating, because getting close to the end of what he was saying, he himself said that if we put God in time, we are limiting him. That God lives outside
the word live
lives outside existence. And so any other man of God who says that
God
he
exists.
continues. So if the word live that you use, live, if you use synonyms, okay, we can go on and on and on and reach a point where we will say be. Okay, can you be here today, or can you be here with me? Can you live here with me? Can you be here with me? You see, that's how it works. So then it means God is before he does anything. Of course, you cannot even, if you're not there, you cannot do anything.
And I think there's been a problem with, you see, there are different modes of existence. There are different ways to exist. So you can exist as a corporeal reality. As something physical. So the tablet it exists
because I can see it. Okay.
You see, there's also existence which is not corporeal, like something you cannot perceive. For example, ghosts, spirits, the soul, they exist. However, they are incorporeal. We can't see them. And there's also existence in the mind. So if someone will say, oh, do mermaids exist? Some will say yes, some will say no. Those who say yes will try to, like align it to physical existence, corporeal existence, or existence in the mind. Those who say no will say no, we've not seen some before. But then existence in the mind is something that you have thought about. So once you've thought about something, it exists, just not in reality, just not in physical, in a way that your senses can apprehend it, but in your mind. So God existing to create things, we cannot compare that existence of God to his existence in physicality. It has to be existence outside physicality to create physicality. And just as my brother said, there is absolutely no way you can do something, create something, make something without not being. Like, it doesn't even make sense. You can't even lift something, you can't move something without being there to be able to move the thing. So that if you put it in that way, then you begin to understand that God should exist to create, God should exist to make things happen. And about the world, you see, when you create, looking at it from another dimension, when you create, there is a part of you that you put in what you have created. So when I decide to make a tablet, there's a part of me I put in it. My principles, my ideas, my purpose, my goals, I put them into what I've created. So you can say, in a way, I am in it. A bit of me or a part of me is in what I've created. So if you put it in that way too, then you can start thinking about the fact that God also exists in the created reality, in the created things. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
See, God actually exists you see, once God is God, then he can't be limited to time. That doesn't mean that he can't also be put in time. So he is in time at the same time outside time.
Okay, yeah.
So you see,
that sounded.
I was really thinking about it. Because if we totally remove God outside time, it will mean
Then
he
where will you
cannot
put
work
him?
in time.
No, but where will you put him?
You see, if we totally remove God outside time, then how do we account for miracles?
you see,
Because
God
miracles
has
are an intervention in time.
Mhm.
So it will be weird to say he exists only in time. Come on, how will he create the world? It will also be totally weird to also say he exists only outside time, because it will be like how? You know?
So to you, our viewers, you can also join the conversation in the comment section. Tell me, do you think that God exists means that God has been limited? Let us know in the comment section, and I'll take the final comments of my panelists. Then we can wrap up with this video.
Really, I think look at the video. It's not like probably we are trying to attack or anything, but then the point is the pastor is trying to communicate a message. Only that the way he is communicating the message has a problem, which can cause other people to be confused. So even the presenter had to ask him if he's confused. See, so the message is that God is great, and we can't limit God to our own human standards. We can't limit God to our own human experiences, because he goes beyond that. And I think that's the message. But to say that God doesn't exist because of this is something I cannot really agree with, because God exists.
And what I would say is, you see, as I said in the beginning, the Christian message is simple. It is one. But when we focus on ourselves, I want to be the one who is a good preacher. I want to be the one who says things in a way that makes people, I know the message is not about you, it's not about me. It's about God, it's about Jesus Christ and his love for man. So when you are so, how should I even put it? When you are all about yourself.
You want to sound unique. You
want to do something to make you stand out. You end up committing some blunders, because you say things. The heresies that were committed by the heretics, it's not really any big deal. It's just simply they trying to bring something different to make themselves feel like, I know book, I know something. And I think if we focus on ourselves, we miss the entire Christian message. And I think, unfortunately, that is what he has done. His idea is good, because God is great, and outside everything you can even think about. But yeah, as Anselm says, that means nothing greater can be thought of.
Yes.
But it's the communication. It shouldn't be about how special you want your message to be. It should be about Christ, about God. So
the long and short of the whole thing is that God is great, but he also exists.
Oh yes, yes.
And we can talk about it. We can talk and say that God exists and all that. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. I would like to put on record that this is a joint initiative from the Faith Forum and the Second Archangel. So at the Second Archangel, you can follow him. He has a lot of beautiful things to show you. So I would like to thank you brothers very much for making it to this set. And we'd like to thank Hitbeats for lending us the studio where we could stand in Hitbeats. He does a lot of productions in music and also videography. So I'll put his number in the description below. If you are interested, you can call him and He will help you to realize your music dreams. Once again, my name is Reverend Father Isaac Nana Kwame Nimado, and this has been your Faith Forum. See you in the next video. Bye.